Talking tactics tonight. Yes, Kerryn, behave yourself. Brought to you by Northern Rivers Equine. And I'll say tonight, it's actually going to be released on Friday because I've put a little bit too much stuff out today, Kezzy. I think people are sick of hearing my voice. I try to do one of these a week, and I'm a little bit slow on getting this one out, I must say. But I thought, Kez, I might catch up with you in relation to Red Hot Tooth and her dominant win the other night at Shep. And I say dominant, I thought it was a very comprehensive win and a good return to form for her. My first question, I'll bring the race up in a minute, but I do the parade rings, as you know, on with Trot's Vision on a Saturday night, and I thought she looked really good at Bendigo. I didn't get to see her actually in the parade ring because it was such a wet, miserable night. I stayed up in the grandstands. She raced terrific, and when you watch a replay, her last 50 metres was great, but at about the 400, 500 metre mark, she just lost Wobbly's back. Was there a reason for it, or was it just like I thought at Shep, just maybe match fitness?
Yeah, that they split really sharply, and she tends to just, she can't sprint that quick, and especially on a bend, she tends to just lug in a little bit, and then once she straightened at Bendigo, she really found the line hard. So just that point-to-point speed, she just lacks a little bit of it. She's still quite quick, but compared to a Wobbly and some of the other top liners, she's not quite as quick at that.
Wobbly is very quick though as well. Like he gets a bit mistaken for how much high speed he actually does have, and that was one of the things. I'll bring the race up at Shepparton, and it just early on, Kez, I thought coming out of the mobile, you were, I think you pretty much conceded that you weren't going to get past Brad Stevens early. Would that be fair enough?
Yeah.
Brad Ango, sorry.
Yeah, him too. Yeah, she has got good gate speed, but Sunderland's Kari is pretty quick, and didn't think he would be handing up his usual racing pattern, and they don't. So Paul just sort of said, come out a little bit, try and stay in front of the other two. Big Jack came out with me, but then he elected to grab hold and get a bit of a sit with him. So, yeah, we sort of left in the death.
You were left in the death, but you weren't actually panicking. You were quite happy just to let Sundon's Courage dictate the race, but you probably sat in a position strong enough to say to everyone else, you're going to keep the death. Would that be fair?
Yeah, for sure. She's sort of she's quite a strong horse too, probably more so than fast, and I was happy to sit there with her. Paul sort of said, yeah, we can keep them behind us and we can sort of run a true last 600 metres. She should go pretty close, and she, if I waited to the 400, they may out sprint you kind of thing. So, sort of happy to sit there, go as slow as we could, and then get her rolling down the back. And on the turn is probably where they get to her most times. So if I sort of could keep ahead of them before the turn and have them under a little bit of pressure, she was going to be better off. And look, in the straight, it felt like they were going to maybe get her, but she does fight on. She's very brave and just tries her heart out.
Just so you're aware, they're just hitting the back straight in the race now. But you didn't put a lot of pressure on Brad down the back. His horse naturally just gets rolling harder and harder the further he goes into a race anyway. So it probably played into your hands a little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's right. Sun and Courage goes good. I did think that I could beat him sitting outside him, sort of no matter what the speed. So I was happy just to let him go what he wanted to, and when he did get rolling, it suited me anyway. So, we're happy to be in the death, and she sort of showed her toughness, and then made it really hard for the swoopers to get her and just held them off.
It's the depth in the trotters. We got your last 100 metres here, and there's four horses going across the line within a length. There's another two, probably 2.5 lengths further back. Just about every horse in that field is a Group 1 winner. with the exception maybe of Robbie Royale. I'm not sure on Robbie Royale whether he has or not, but all the others have definitely won a Group 1 race. But she's the only mare, isn't she? Like, and she just puts her head out. She's like, "Come on, boys, I'm going to give you a flogging," sort of thing, and she just puts it out at the right time.
Yeah, she does. She tries every time you drive her. It was I was so wrapped while I win a race on her a little while back now, but I'd run so many places on her in good races, and when she did finally win one for me, it was very rewarding because and you know I feel lucky to be able to drive her. She's a lovely horse to drive, and yeah, you know, it's nice to get a drive on such a nice trotter for such nice people.
I like to try and bring people a little bit of an insight into the way drivers think. I think a lot of people just think we just sit out there and we're on the best horse, so we'll just go and win the race and drive them hard or whatever. But I know when you've driven for me, and it was interesting, you said it there a couple of times in that interview, that you do talk your way through with trainers about your tactics a lot, don't you? Even though you're the most winningest female driver in the world, but you still do rely on the trainers to give you that feedback and suggestions on what they think in a race.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to have a little bit of input to about, you know, how they think the horse should be driven, and obviously races don't pan out how you think a lot of the time. So I mean, a lot of trainers, they don't give you a lot of instruction. Just maybe a couple of maybe do this, maybe do that, but they pretty much leave it up to me most of the time. It's I guess they always say, you know, if you're out there, you know what you're doing, and hopefully that's the case. But, a bit of guidance, though, doesn't go astray. And obviously, they say if that doesn't pan out, you know, make your own mind up. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and it definitely does with this mare. You've driven a lot of nice trotters. How nice a trotter is she, Red Hot Tooth? Like, I know right at the minute she's the equal of any of the trotters going around, but how nice a trotter is she as far as, you know, you've driven La Cucaracha? I don't think they get a lot better than, oh, yes, they do, Night Pistol. Better bite my tongue, better not. You've driven some nice trotters, so where does she stack up?
Yeah, obviously they're a little while ago now, but obviously La Cucaracha, I wouldn't have driven a faster trotter than her. She was as fast as a good pacer. And Night Pistol was a bit the opposite. He was as strong as you could find, just toughed it out. So they were pretty much opposites. They're both very good horses. And Red Hot Tooth, she's got a little bit of both. She can sprint and stay. So she's sort of got, you know, some good traits in her abilities. So she's sort of came along in a tough year when Toronto Valley was sort of better than her, but not by a long way. She's a great Southern Star, still haunts me. Half a head or whatever it was, I don't know. It wasn't far. And would have been just lovely, but, you know, I did gallop on her first drive I had on her. I galloped and maybe the second, and I thought, gosh, is it me? But we've worked it out now. Yeah, we get along pretty well.
Yeah, and she looks a lovely mare. She gives, as I said, this is brought to you by Northern Rivers Equine, and they've got a great list of stallions. She gives a great encouragement, I think, for any person out there, especially if you're looking at breeding. Like, she's by Yankee Paco, and I'm not going to knock Yankee Paco in any way, but it never reached the heights of a lot of other stallions. On the night at Shepparton, there was the 3-year-old trot. There was 3 Muscle Hills in it, and they fought out the finish. And I don't know what he stands for, but he's like more expensive. You know, you're going to the line there, and you're fighting the finish out with Down Under Muscles. You know, Sundine's Courage ran 4th, and I can't remember what Robbie Royale's by, but it's a different stallion that I've never heard of. It's one of the great things about the trotter. They can come from anywhere, can't they?
Yeah, for sure. You know, sometimes your breeding doesn't matter. It's you know, even Tenno Trump is another one who comes to mind because he's, you know, a cheap stallion, but he throws some handy ones now and then. It doesn't, you know, there's no really rules to it at all. He's
another great stallion that you've driven too that you forget about. Like, you sort of, you've done a great thing. Because there was a 2-part reason for me getting you onto this too, and the other part was that during the week, I think it was at Stall, that you actually actually drove 1,000 winners, and I think it's just an amazing feat. Do you pinch yourself with some of your achievements? Like, you don't train a lot of horses. People think that you have a lot of horses in work, but you and Grant, you don't work a lot of horses at all. And to train 1,000 winners, and in not an overly long time, it must. Do you pinch yourself over that?
A bit, yeah. Like, I obviously don't keep track of these things as they come up, but somebody rang me as they usually do and said, "Did you know this happened at Stawell?" And I was like, "Oh, no," because Stawell is probably one of my favourite tracks, and it's my home track pretty well in Ararat. So to do it there was really good. Yeah, I remember my first winner was a little grey horse called Special Game, who was very cheaply, and I about 2004, I think it was. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, and it's lovely to get such a milestone. It's pretty special.
I did a picture up. You can't see it because you can't see what I've actually done. But 1,000 winners with Rooney. But I know he was very special to you. But is there one that stands out above all the others that you've trained over the journey? Because again, you've had a heap of ripping one. It might not necessarily be the best one. It might not necessarily be Rooney. It might be another horse that doesn't come to mind.
Yeah, it's hard to think back on who there's been, but like you said, there's been so many such nice horses, and a lot of them Merv Butterworth has owned and sent here, and has really helped me along in my quest to get the 1,000 winners. Because I was speaking to him on the phone the other day, and I said, "I wonder how many of them you owned," and it would be interesting to get that stat. But look, Rooney was obviously pretty special to do what he did in New Zealand, and he obviously stands out. But yeah, like you said, even a horse like the Noble Steed, who I bred, which makes it a little bit more special. Don't laugh at me. He's
I got one thing over Alan Tormey. I actually broke him in anyway. I drove him before Alan Tormey did. So yeah, so
that qualified him, didn't he? And so to come with him from breeding him, winning a free service and breeding him, yeah, that's sort of special too. They're all pretty special in their own right, and yeah, they all matter.
Absolutely. And for people that aren't aware, Kez, it was a little bit of an in-joke, but yeah, Nobby was one that you bred. To say he was an ugly duckling, luckily I'm talking to the owner, so it's okay. He was a very ugly little foal, or yearling.
Real one.
Yeah, he ended up a lovely horse, but he's the sort of horse that I think that's where I was trying to probably go with the question with you, because you've had so many horses, but you tend to have a soft spot for some of the more unique ones, I find, is probably the best way to put it. Kez, thank you very much for giving us 5 minutes with Talking Tactics. I appreciate it. I love talking to you, and I hope people have enjoyed it. And I think well done to yourself. Got to say well done to Grant as well, because you do train as a partnership and the rest. But officially, you've trained 1,000 winners in your name. Which, hey.
With much help, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. But, we take a lot of things for granted in harness racing. The ladies, what you guys do in a sport that everyone takes for granted. You look at other sports and they say, "Oh, a lady did this or a lady did that." We don't even say that in harness racing. I don't think anyone said you're a female trainer. I think everyone just said, "Well done, Kerryn Manning, for training 1,000 winners." So, I think we're very lucky in this sport myself. So, Kez, thank you very much for giving me the time. Hopefully I get to do another one of these with you, and it's a lot of fun.
That was very good. Thank you. Nice to talk to you too.